Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Tech Talks, the tech show where we pretend like we know a little bit more than just about making dick jokes on the internet. I'm Ogre, and I'm back with my co-host Aries.
Hi.
Anyway, so we haven't done a episode of Tech Talks in a while, so we're going to be hitting on some...
Forever.
Yeah, and forever. Actually been like a month and a half at this point. 2 months maybe. So we're going to be hitting on... Well, we're going to be hitting on a lot of newer stuff, but we're also going to be talking about some of the stuff that I wanted to cover, but we couldn't cover during the times when we weren't doing Tech Talks. So what we're going to start out here first is... just our thoughts on YouTube Red now that it's been announced and is very close to being launched. What do you think about YouTube Red? Like, is it going to flop? Is it a good alternative to AdBlock? Do you think it's pointless?
I know nothing about it. I've really not tried to learn anything about it, mostly because I just don't care. And the reason I don't care is because it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, it seems to be the attitude like a lot of people are taking because, you know, basically the only point of YouTube Red is to get rid of AdBlock. Or it's to offer an alternative to AdBlock. But
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, there's really no point in offering an alternative to AdBlock. If, you know,
Pornhub offers an alternative to AdBlock, and that's not really used.
Yeah. You know, it's because AdBlock is free, while this is a $10 a month subscription. I mean, they plan on bringing some, like kind of what Netflix does with bringing some, like, custom shows to the mix. Right, not some custom shows, some original shows. Why the fuck did I say custom? But yeah, they plan on bringing some original shows to the mix. There's something with PewDiePie called Scare PewDiePie, where it's produced by the people of The Walking Dead, and Rooster Teeth has something going on called Laser Team. However, unless those shows are pretty damn good, I don't really see many people signing up for YouTube Red.
I'm not sure why PewDiePie needs a show. I mean, he's a Let's Player. He has at least 2 new episodes of him doing random shit on the internet every day. And Rooster Teeth has a shit ton of shows. And unless they're going to move Red versus Blue to YouTube Red only, I don't care.
And it's not like all that stuff wouldn't find its way out onto, the
Piracy?
The Pirate Bay anyways. Okay, so on to our next topic. This one's a little bit older. Came out like a few weeks ago. This is on Gearburn.com. Bethesda finally releases Fallout 4's PC specs.
Are we not going in order of your file?
It's in the order of my
whoops.
file. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and read this. Arguably, the biggest game release of the year, at least in terms of hype, is Fallout 4. Fallout 4 has a lot to live up to. Its previous guide was one of the games of the decade. While this time around, Bethesda has hype on its side, said hype also comes with expectation. So with that said, the developers finally released the PC requirements you'll need to meet to play the title. And at first glance, it's not all that demanding at much. Based on the trailers, the game doesn't seem to be the most graphically intensive. It's no Witcher 3, for instance, but that does mean more gamers will be able to play it on PC. Here are the minimum requirements outlined. They want you to have Windows 7 64-bit or later. CPU needs to be an Intel Core i5 or AMD Phenom 2X 4X 945, 8 gigabytes of RAM, at least 30 gigabytes of free space. GPU, they want you to have an NVIDIA GTX 550 Ti or a AMD Radeon HD 780 2 gigabytes. And the recommended specs are an Intel Core i7 or an AMD FX 9590, 8 gigabytes of RAM, at least 30 gigabytes of free space, and an NVIDIA GTX 780 3 gigabytes or an AMD R9 290X 4 gigabytes. So let's talk about the PC specs a little bit.
Wonder how it'll run on integrated graphics.
Well, the thing is, like modern integrated graphics are not that they're not that much less powerful than an old 550 Ti, and the fact that it's running on graphics cards that are the 550 Ti's. I know it's at least 3 or 4 generations of graphics card behind the NVIDIA's current line. So the fact that it's running on something that old is actually pretty amazing.
I believe it's more because they don't want to, or like the whole point, like they didn't really go graphics wise, is because they wanted to base more on content and story.
Yeah.
I mean, the graphics aren't, like you said, The Witcher 3, but I mean, it's not Fallout 3.
Yeah.
They've done an upgrade, but they wanted to, I think because that's how Bethesda usually works. It's with their older, more popular games, they want people to play them for the story rather than the graphics.
Yeah, definitely that. What I
Besides,
think,
there's probably going to be a mod out to make it better graphics here in the next 2 months after it comes out.
Yeah, that's what I was actually just about to bring up, because they're recommending a 780 3GB. Now, that isn't that's a last generation card, but it was also a top of the line last generation card. If you have a 780, you are still probably running games at 1080p, 60 frames a second, like on absolute highest settings, and some of the newer games, depending on how graphically demanding they are, you might be even running at 1440p. And obviously, the R9 290X is roughly on par with the current AMD R9 390. So, like, these aren't these aren't bad cards by like any means. So what I'm wondering if they're kind of factoring in is like, okay, you can run it on like a piss poor graphics card. You're probably going to be able to max it on a mid tier graphics card. So I'm wondering if they're recommending the specs this high, because they know mods are going to be coming out that's going to make it more graphically demanding. Like, I'm not sure if they're accounting for that. Like, do you think they'd be accounting for that?
I don't really think it's a developer's job to account for mods. I believe that's really more of a user, so I doubt they'd really do that. I think the reason that they've put up such a broad spectrum of what your graphics card should be is probably they've put a broad spectrum on what you can do with their graphics.
Yeah. I mean, the only gameplay footage that we've seen on like Fallout 4, and this is another thing, is like, people complain about, how Fallout 4's graphics isn't what we'd expect it to be. The gameplay footage we've seen on Fallout 4 has been on Xbox One and on PS4. We haven't seen any PC gameplay footage, and we all know console generations. Generally, the graphical fidelity of console games tends to be around like the medium settings on a PC. So who knows? Once you turn up those graphics, it might be quite a difference.
Prepare for Fallout 4 with Fallout Beer. Bethesda is partnering with Carlsberg UK to create Fallout Beer, inspired by Vault-Tec Industries, the Fallout video game series. Wait, what? Inspired by Vault-Tec Industries. Why is it inspired by Vault-Tec Industries? Wouldn't it just be inspired by the fucking Fallout game? Anyway.
Vault-Tec is the company that's made the vaults. Without the vaults, you don't have Fallout.
I know, but it's not really inspired by Vault-Tec as much as it is just by the game.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I don't know if I'd have to write that. Anyway, Fallout Beer will be available via Amazon.co.uk and begin shipping November 5th. Shipping beer sounds like a great idea. Fallout Beer precedes the release of Fallout 4, the highly anticipated next installment in the post-apocalyptic open-world RPG franchise. This is something of a world first. Adult participation in video gaming is a truly social activity, on par with the cinema and music, said Bruce Ray, Corporate Affairs Director at Carlsberg UK, in a press release. We're proud to work with Bethesda to produce a beer Fallout fans can enjoy. Fallout Beer is a 4% alcohol by volume ABV Pilsner lager with a refreshingly zesty hoppy taste and a floral aroma, sold in a 33 milliliter bottle format and sold only to customers aged 18 and over. Hey, wait, does that mean I can buy it?
No. Here's the bad thing about this that's going to piss you off. It's a UK-only release.
I mean, what? I can't have it shipped to the US?
No.
Why?
I don't know, but like
isn't Bethesda an American company?
Yeah, but they partnered specifically with like this British beer company. I was reading another article, and they said Amazon won't ship it to the U.S. Because of U.S. drinking laws. And I'm like, that's so bullshit.
Wait, can they ship it to Germany?
I don't know. I mean, Niels is coming back in December. I mean, he could always bring a case of Fallout beer with him on the plane. He's of legal age in both Germany and United States now.
I wonder how that'd get through customs, but I mean, it's worth the best shot. I mean, if you can get a hold of him to get that stuff here, do it. We're gonna have to cut this out of the video.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, that was the end of the article.
Okay, I'll pull up the next article.
I'll read it since you suck.
Okay, guys, so going on with the theme of Fallout beverages, we got another one for you.
I didn't even see the other one after the Nuka-Cola. That's kind of irritating. Why is everybody releasing? Anyway, you can buy Fallout 4's Nuka-Cola Quantum at Target next month. I don't think I've ever seen a Target in this state. Anyway.
They're down around Saginaw-ish.
That's nowhere near where I am. Fallout fans will soon be able to eradicate their taste buds with the real-life Nuka-Cola Quantum. Bottles of the carbonated soft drink will be available to purchase exclusively at Target this fall, according to the series' official Twitter account. Bethesda Softworks, publisher of the Fallout series, has partnered with boutique soda manufacturers. Oh wow, Jones.
Yeah. So you know what's going to be
Jones
good.
Soda. Wow, that means it's going to be very good. Jones Soda to make this happen. As seen in a photo posted by the Fallout Twitter account, full image below and the thing that I'm sure Dakota will put up right here, the beverage comes in the same blue color as the in-game Nuka-Cola Quantum, which debuted in 2008's Fallout 3. The drink isn't a unique variety produced specially for this promotion. Taking a closer look at the full resolution photo, you can see it appears to be a repackaged version of Jones Soda existing berry lemonade flavor.
That's
Jones Soda. That is very disappointing. Jones Soda Nuka-Cola Quantum will be available at Target stores starting November 10th, the same day Fallout 4 launches. This isn't the only Fallout-based beverage, as we already talked about the beer, and I'm not going to read that.
So I plan on making a trip down to Target the day of Fallout 4 releases.
My thing with this is it may not just be... Well, I can't get a full resolution photo, apparently. Can I open this? Let me try opening it and see if I can zoom in and it tells me what the flavor is.
It just said what the flavor is. It says berry lemonade.
That's what this article says, and it's from a site called Polygon. I'm not exactly going to instantaneously trust it.
Polygon is one of the biggest gaming sites, dude. Like they're up there with Kotaku and IGN.
Yeah, but I've never read anything from it, which means it's probably under them. I don't know. It could be that they've only repackaged it temporarily because Jones Soda's expiration dates can be very small.
Yeah.
So it could be a new flavor. It could be a small variant of the flavor. I don't think Jones would be the type of company to just repackage their own flavor for Fallout.
Yeah. You know, I gotta wonder, because they're supposed to be available at Target, but did Beverage ever get any stuff from Jones Soda whenever they're distributing?
Well, first of all, I want you to bleep out where I worked at. Second of all, Jones Soda never got any special things. Jones Soda has just been, their own flavors.
Yeah.
They haven't really done anything like this in quite a while. The biggest change they've really ever had, other than adding a few flavors occasionally, was the putting the photos on the bottles.
Yeah.
So there never was there's never been a promotion like this with Jones Soda.
Yeah. They've
usually kind of stuck to what they do because they kind of try to maintain the fact that they're a mom and pop shop type company.
You know, and I think Jones Soda partnering up with Fallout to make, Bethesda to make Nuka-Cola Quantum, that's actually very fitting considering Jones Soda is, their entire thing is cream sodas which were very popular back in the 50s. And considering the entire Fallout universe is based around like an America that never grew out of the 50s, that's actually hilarious.
I want to reference the fact that I actually kind of called this.
Yeah, because I remember I told you about the Fallout beer, and you're like, "Damn it, I want Nuka-Cola."
Yeah, I said I just want. Yeah, I said I just want a Nuka-Cola, and then out comes this.
But it's Nuka-Cola Quantum. It's not or Quantum. It's not actually Nuka-Cola. I would still love I would still love regular Nuka-Cola if they came out with it.
I'd like Jones to actually. I think they already have a cola, but I'd like them to like actually make some sort of Nuka.
Yeah.
Like make something I don't know, taste radioactive or some crap.
That sounds very unsafe.
I don't care. Like soda's that safe to drink anyway.
Beer or vodka.
Yeah, it's still something they've had then, and they can market it. Anyway, yet another video game is getting its own beer. Australian beer company Black Hops Brewing has announced a partnership with Activision for Call of Duty Black Ops 3 inspired beer called Black Hops Midnight Pale Ale. So wait, the company already existed called Black Hops?
Apparently.
I guess that's slightly more acceptable. It's described as a light and refreshing with tantalizing hop aroma of pine and citrus fruit. The brewers fused it with a specialty roasted wheat to create a deep, rich black color without any of the harsh roast or bitter flavors that you might expect from a dark ale. According to the beer's official description. It's like, what? Did they just add coloring to it? Is that what they're saying? Is the specialty roast dye?
Maybe?
The 4.8% alcohol beer ships November 2nd in Australia only, because fuck everything. For more, watch the video about the beer, visit the beer website. Rather not. If you're wondering why Activision didn't partner with Black Ops Brewing sooner, it might be because the company was only founded in November 2014. In the video, they explain how their partnership with Activision came to be and more.
I mean, I guess that's pretty good for just a beer startup. It was just like, oh, we started last year and we're partnering with Activision, the biggest publisher like in video games currently, other than EA.
It seems like, in my opinion, they're literally only named themselves that and created themselves to get this partnership just to make this beer.
I mean, if they named themselves Black Ops and they knew Black Ops 3 was coming and it panned out for them, way to take advantage of the capitalist system, bro. What I don't understand is why, they're doing this regionally. Why is none of this stuff coming to the United States or other regions?
I just don't understand why they just don't make it world fucking wide. Why do you got to market a certain product to a certain part of the world?
Yeah, I mean,
they have companies for Japanese candy in America just because they don't market that shit. And some of that stuff, as weird as it is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, they have American beers in other countries. You could go if you really wanted to. You could probably find Samuel Adams Boston Lager over in Britain. They'd probably kick your ass out of the bar first before they'd serve it to you, but they probably have it.
Yep, and it probably is warm.
Probably. That's another thing. I never understand why British people drink their beer warm.
Because cold drinks are relatively new.
Relatively new. I mean, that's if you consider 80 years ago relatively new.
That is relatively new to the fact that drinking things has been around since the dawn of fucking time.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't take a genius to figure out. It's like, oh yeah, you refrigerate beer, it tastes better.
No, but it took a genius to figure out how to refrigerate things.
So our next article here
keep going with the kind of questions. So.
Okay. Anyways, so guys, our next article here is from Polygon again. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 won't have a campaign on PS3 or Xbox 360. Also not listed in the article is that it's been confirmed by the developers that Call of Duty will not run at 60 frames per second on the last gen console. That's something that they've always hit on previous gen consoles. For Call of Duty Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, They've always made sure their games have ran at 60 FPS. So this is actually quite a development. I mean, Black Ops.
Shall I read now?
Yeah, you can read.
Call of Duty Black Ops 3's last generation versions will only include the Black Ops series' traditional zombies and a competitive multiplayer components. No single player campaign. Publisher Activision announced today. Well, today meaning like September
25th
this year. Yeah. The reason the campaign is too ambitious for the old consoles to handle, according to the company. I don't understand how a game is too ambitious for a console, but okay. The ambitious scope of the 1 to 4 player co-op campaign designed for the PS4 and Xbox One and PC versions could not be faithfully recreated on old generation hardware, said Activision. Delivering the best possible gameplay experience on all platforms is always our highest priority, because there's no other games on those consoles that exist like that. Nope, nowhere in the history of ever. Black Ops 3 on PS3 and Xbox 360 is being developed by Beanox and Mercenary Technology. The current generation versions are being made. So wait, they've outsourced the previous gen?
Yeah.
Well, then no fucking wonder why they're not making it at high quality. I don't even want to read the rest of this article because I can probably already tell you what happened. What most likely happened is it was a last-minute decision, and Treyarch didn't want to have to handle reporting their own code to another console. So they outsourced it to somebody who could do it quicker and cheaper in a very low-quality way. Yeah. That's probably also why it can't run at 30 frames a second. They probably did this only so that they could keep the people who are not buying PS3s or PS4s and Xbox Ones and still make money off of it.
See, here's the thing I don't understand. I get that they're trying to phase out the last generation consoles. But the thing is, if you're trying to phase out the last generation consoles, then stop fucking porting games over to them. I'm not sure how more clear I could be about this. It's like, if you're not going to offer a similar experience, across consoles, don't bother.
Not trying to phase it out. They're just trying to keep making money. Like I said, they're not. They don't care about phasing it.
But it wouldn't be hard for them to tone down the graphics fidelity on the newer Black Ops just a teeny bit in order to get the campaign working. I mean, Call of Duty is never.
It's not just a question of graphics, though. PS4 and Xbox run on slightly different code than the other two consoles.
Oh yeah, but
it would take a team like they already have working on Black Ops 2 or 3, to report it over back to the old consoles. And Treyarch probably refuses to do so at a lower quality fashion, which is why it's been outsourced to 2 different companies.
Yeah, but hear me out here. Like on the last gen consoles and next gen consoles, Advanced Warfare is nearly almost identical, across consoles. The next generation, now it's current generation, but PS4 and Xbox One have, obviously better graphic fidelity on their versions of Advanced Warfare, but it was still perfectly playable at 60 FPS on the Xbox 360 and PS3. So there's no reason why they couldn't get
team to do a software engineering team to do that, or just a team in general, to report it back to an older system. It's the same way when they make PC games, they have to port it back over to consoles, or console games to port over to PC.
Yeah.
It doesn't just take one person saying, let's drag and drop this. It takes a team to fix the slight problems and errors that can come up out of nowhere when you have to report to a separate system, even if it's the same brand. And that's probably why it's being outsourced to a different company, because Treyarch probably doesn't have the manpower to do it at a good quality. Yeah, and Beanox and Mercenary Technology can do it, but cheaper and not at good enough quality. So they probably scrapped those pieces so they could just continue to make money.
Yeah, I'm thinking where they ran into issues here, because this is something that I actually wanted to talk about, but I didn't throw into the document folder. Is about Halo 5 scrapping split screen multiplayer, because it would be too hard for the Xbox One to render everything twice for 2 different players. So what I'm thinking is, because Black Ops Call of Duty has always had split screen multiplayer, and from what I understand, I think you could play split screen on the PS4 and Xbox One. like I'm thinking they probably ran into issues there with like just processing power, not being able to do full like 4-player co-op and still load the campaign missions fine. But at that point, then you just make it online only. You just give your or you just make it to where you have the option where you're playing with AI teammates rather than having 4-player split screen campaign. But that's the only
Well, I don't
spot.
think it was just the downplay of the 4-player campaign. Like I said, there are many other games for the PS3 like that. I think I own a few. But the point is, and Xbox 360, I don't own those though. But the point being is that it's not just something you can drag and drop things out of to fix. It takes a team working on it the same amount it takes of working on the other game to port it back over. Not only that, but you can't port it as it's being made. You would have to wait till after it's made to port it, which is why they've had another company do it.
Yeah. I mean, and if they want to meet their release dates, obviously the first thing that Treyarch is going to. Really, did my internet connection just drop again?
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me. Then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own.
Okay, so I'll just cut the part where I was talking out because it wasn't really anything important. But, I mean, honestly, though, I think 2015 is probably going to be the last year we see games for the old gen consoles. I mean, at this point, there's just not much that they can do with them while still keeping the same quality as what they're getting on next gen consoles.
Probably. Well, I mean, it takes a while for games to stop being made for them. I mean, they didn't stop making games for the PS2 since till 2011.
Yeah, which is really that's almost unheard of, and but it's nearly it's we've been in this current console generation for 2 years, and people are already talking how this console generation is going to not even be anywhere as close to the length as the last console generation was. So I think they're going to die fairly soon. Okay. So here's the next article we have, and this is something I really don't want to talk about because it seems like we've talked a lot about we've talked in the past about a lot of problems that AMD's been having, and here's yet another problem. Phil Rogers, a veteran on the AMD side, has joined NVIDIA. Okay, I'll read it. Okay, so with only 2 major players in the dedicated GPU industry, it's not unusual for employees of NVIDIA and AMD to partake in the occasional bout of muscle jump shipping. But every now and then, it's a big move, and unfortunately, the embattled AMD is losing one of their... and unfortunately for the embattled AMD, today it's losing one of the talents. Phil Rogers, AMD corporate fellow and president of the Heterogeneous System Architecture Foundation, has left the company after 21 years to join rival NVIDIA as its compute server architect. So, damn, that's pretty long. 21 years at that point in the tech industry, you should be ready to retire, and he's just completely turncoating on AMD. That's pretty. It's pretty out there. Rogers is the second high-profile loss for AMD in many months, with ace CPU architect Jim Keller regarded by many as the brains behind the upcoming Zen CPU microarchitecture. Having recently left the company, 500 other staff are expected to be let go as the company struggles to return to profitability. One of AMD's high-ranking corporate fellows, Rogers, was instrumental to the development of HSA, a technology that integrates the CPU and GPU on the same bus, with shared memory and task queuing and scheduling, and the software or lack thereof behind it. He also helped found the HSA Foundation, a consortium made up of the likes of ARM, Imagination, MediaTek, Qualcomm, and Samsung, with the aim to push HSA to the mainstream. Prior to his work on HSA, Rogers worked at ATI developing the Radeon GPUs from the 2000s onwards, before the company was gobbled up by AMD. The loss of Rogers will be a blow to AMD's plans to grow HSA, which hasn't exactly bestowed them with a wealth of compatible software so far. While NVIDIA isn't a part of HSA, Rogers may have been brought because of his HSA chops. The company is set to launch its Pascal architecture next year, which boasts NVIDIA Link CPU and GPU interconnect, allowing for heterogeneous computing setups that are similar to what AMD's been pushing out for years. There's no word yet on who will replace Rogers, but an announcement is expected to be made on AMD's upcoming earnings call later this month. So yeah, that's a huge blow for AMD. Like, they've been struggling for years to maintain profitability, and here they lose someone who's been behind like some of their best GPUs, some of their best breakthroughs in CPUs. Because AMD's like integrated graphics has always been superior than has been superior compared to Intel's. So like you could game on a AMD APU setup and be completely fine running most games on medium settings, as long as you got a fairly new CPU. So that. So what are your thoughts on this?
Sucks for AMD.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, they as a company, they really, really need to do something fast to regain profitability. Because for the simple fact is, if they go down, then that's going to leave. That's going to leave the CPU market with Intel and I think a few small corporations that manufacture CPUs for mobile phones, and that's going to leave the GPU market exclusively to NVIDIA. And as we all know, competition drives prices down on all levels. So and this isn't just an issue that would affect United States consumers. This is an issue that would affect worldwide consumers, because there are not that many companies that are set up to push out silicone chips like NVIDIA and Intel can. They'd pretty much have a complete worldwide monopoly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, you can take on the next article.
Cool. The next article is exactly a paragraph.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it worth reading then?
No.
Okay, move on.
It's basically a snippet that the Microsoft Service Book is completely sold out.
Okay.
What do you do?
Okay, then move on to the next one.
Get up. Surface Book is twice as powerful as MacBook Pro, confirms Microsoft. Why do I gotta read that? That's not difficult to pull off. That's literally one of the easiest things a tech company can do. Do I gotta read this?
Yeah, you have to read it. This is important.
About what? That they beat Apple? Because that's the hardest thing in the world to do.
Yes. Anyone who watches
build a laptop for $500 and probably beat one. My laptop probably beats their current ones.
Yeah, but this is the fact that they're doing it in a form factor that's fairly similar to the MacBook Pro. When you start factoring in form factors, it's hard to do that in a small form factor like that.
The second statement that once ounce for ounce, pound for pound, this is the fastest 13-inch laptop ever made anywhere on any planet. The second statement that the executive said was that the 13.5-inch notebook was twice as powerful as Apple's MacBook Pro, according to a source when Microsoft was approached to give further details regarding this earlier statement. Regarding the performance of the Surface Book, the company stated the following. Our validated performance claims are for the Microsoft Surface Book with an Intel Core i7 with 16 gigabytes RAM and custom discrete NVIDIA GeForce GPU against the MacBook Pro 13-inch with Retina display the Intel Core i7 with 16GB RAM. We use third-party benchmarks to test the best available Surface Book against the best available 13-inch MacBook Pro. The aforementioned model appears to be the second most powerful configured Surface Book, and the grand total that you will be paying in order to experience the performance is $22,699. This particular model features 512 gigabytes of internal storage, while the $3,000 model has 1 terabyte of storage. The base model for the notebook starts from $1,500. We'll just say that. And in this, you will receive a Core i5 Skylake processor with 8 gigabytes of RAM, coupled with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of internal storage. The machine also has a PixelSense touchscreen display that measures in 33,000 by 2,000 pixels and is running Windows 10 Professional out of the box. That's pretty much it.
Okay, so... Damn, that is an expensive fucking tablet computer. Like, okay, I get that it's more powerful than the MacBook, and it's good that Apple has someone challenging them in this market, because Apple for a long time has been screwing over their customers when it's come to this. But I don't think the Surface
Apple
Book
hasn't had a monopoly in this market. They've never had a monopoly in this market. Ever since Microsoft came out, they've been competing, and then other companies create it.
I'm talking about like
essentially
the way like MacBook style computers. I'm talking about.
Yeah, and you think Microsoft is the only one to create a competitor?
No, but they're the only one that has managed to actually sell well. And this is like, I don't understand because
they're able to do that is because they're a top company.
Yeah, but I don't understand because for those prices, I can't imagine Microsoft remaining competitive with Apple in the like tablet computer, like the high-end tablet computer market that long.
Why? It's about the same price as any other Apple product that boasts that much power.
Last time I checked on MacBook prices, I think the most powerful one was $2,500, and the most powerful one that, like the one that they're comparing it to the most powerful like MacBook, this one's $2,700, and their most powerful one is $3,200. So
right, but look at the power and tell me what you're getting.
Yeah. I mean, I
have similar memory capabilities to the Apple one. They're about the same price, if not cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, the only people who really buy those like sort of computers are like are artist type people, anyways. But like, damn. I mean, for what it is, that is a sexy looking tablet computer. And I can see why it's sold out. I can't justify paying that price for it though.
I mean, if you want it, then you got to pay for it. They can set whatever price they want because they're doing pretty well with it.
Okay, so on to, I'm not sure if this is going to be our final topic of the day, but video game voice actors gives the national board the green light to vote to strike if needed.
Okay. I'm sure most of you read about this a few weeks ago, but now here's an update. A few days ago, the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, SAG-AFTRA, that's a great name, voted with a 96.52% in favor of a strike. What this does, as mentioned in the title, is that it gives the national board to vote a strike if needed. We are pleased to report that the Interactive Media Agreement strike authorized referendum was a resounding success with 96.52% of members voting for favor of referendum. Voting on the referendum closed yesterday. I'm not going to read this entire quote because it's full of big words that mean nothing. Voice actors are not happy with their treatment as they want better conditions as well as better payment if the games become successful. Currently, since the Interactive Media Agreement expired on the 31st of December 2014, the negotiations with publishers such as EA, Activision, Disney, and Warner Brothers are in place, and it seems they are not going to the directions that the voice actors want. Another quote. As for what they want, it's best if you read for yourself. You might call them residuals, secondary payments, royalties, pay bumps, or whatever suits your fancy, the union explained. It is simply the idea that if a video game is wildly successful, actors should share in the financial success. There is ample precedent, I can't read words, for residual income for actors, yet they're historically been extremely difficult to achieve in this contract. The formula we propose is as follows. We're asking for a reasonable performance bonus for every 2 million copies or downloads sold, for 2 million unique subscribers to only online-only games with a cap at 8 million unit subscribers. That shakes out potentially to 4 bonus payments for the most successful games, 2 million, 4 million, 6 million, and 8 million. In addition, the union is proposing that the new agreement tackles concern for vocal stress. That is, a proposal for 2-hour limit on vocally stressful recording sessions. The group also wants to see that stunt coordinators be required on set to assist performance capture actors. What's more, the proposal calls for greater overall transparency in the auditioning process. The union points out that oftentimes the actual name of the project is kept secret, and that is not an ideal situation for actors. So the rest of this is kind of just general, but I think this has been mislabeled. And why I say that is because the entire fucking point behind a union is to strike. So a union giving actors the right to strike is redundant, because that is the entire point they were created, the entire point they exist, and the entire point they will keep on existing. What this article should have been labeled is the fact that voice actors are renegotiating their contracts, because they have been really given the short stick in the past since fucking forever.
Yeah.
I mean, actors and even voice actors for cinema get a better deal than these guys do. And even they get the short stick as well. But it's the fact that if a video game does well, like a small one that's created that isn't even expected to do well, or a big game that is expected to do well, you get the same amount of money no matter what. So what they're proposing is they should, most like the rest of the companies that share in that get this, when a game goes well, they get a financial, I guess, bonus, is they want to share that. If they worked just as hard in the game as anybody else did, they want to share in the fact that it's being successful. And it's also not just that, but it's the point that a lot of their conditions are shit. I mean, vocally stressful, may not sound to somebody that's never had to do voice acting before, and I'm not saying I'm an expert at it, but I mean, for the love of God, imagine the guy that had to do the screams for Skyrim. Because I don't think he just did one of those a day. He probably did all of those in one round. And I'm pretty sure that's pretty vocally stressful. Because if not, I challenge you guys to do it yourself. Not only that,
the funny thing is, we're using Skyrim as an example. Bethesda is not mentioned on this list at all. I can imagine Bethesda as being one of the companies that actually take care of their voice actors.
I know, but I was illustrating a point.
Yeah.
The other thing here is the stunt coordinators on set for voice capture or performance actors. They get that in movies, and it's pretty much the same way that they record it.
Yeah.
You think Star Wars or the prequel trilogy of Star Wars was shot in all sets? Christ, more of that movie is probably a green screen than anything else. And the actors had to perform stunts on them, and when they perform stunts, they get stunt coordinators, because the stunt coordinators make sure it's safe. They do the same shit for video games, except there's more green screens.
Yeah.
So why the hell do they not require stunt coordinators to be on set?
That's beyond me.
This entire article, the guy who wrote this, whoever the hell it is, who the hell is this? Some member of Linus Tech Tips Bozo, is a dumbass. Bigger point of this was that they're renegotiating their contracts to get a better deal.
Yeah.
It's not a new thing that a union gives its members the right to strike.
Oh yeah. It's not a new thing, but this is a new thing for the video game industry. This is the first time voice actors have really gotten together and just be like, hey, we need better deals, or we're gonna strike.
Right, but they've had the right to strike. Everybody has the right to strike. Well, not anymore. Certain states are right to work states, and you know how that goes. But either way, you can still technically strike, but you just, depending on which state you are, you get less or worse deal.
What they're asking for isn't unreasonable by any means. I can imagine.
No, not.
We're looking at an industry that makes a multi-billion-dollar a year industry that's bigger than it's bigger than the fucking movie industry at this point. has a lot more people working in it, and like I said, the voice actors, I like you said, they've probably been getting the short stick for a while because even though as big as video gaming is, a lot of people don't really see it as it's not as culturally important as Hollywood is. So we don't have to pay to people as much as we would Hollywood actors. Which I mean, I don't think any of them are expecting the money that say Tom Cruise gets when he makes like a fucking Top Gun sequel or some shit.
Why not?
Yeah,
those can make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
You think Fallout 4 is going to be any less than Mission Impossible Rogue Nation?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to get like I said, I don't think any of them are really asking for that much money. I mean, yeah, that's a good point. Why not? Because they should be getting be getting that much money. But just getting a bonus is like, we sold like 2 million copies. Hey, here's an extra $50,000. Here's an extra $100,000. That's more of it to sustain them for quite a while, on top of what they're already getting paid. And especially with how talented some of the video game voice actors, I've seen more believable performances in video games than I've seen in a lot of movies.
And a lot of voice actors for video games are just movie actors as well.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's also the point that when they're doing a movie, they have more rights than they do when they're doing video games.
Yeah, and
for God's sakes, Mark Hamill is the voice actor for the Joker on every Warner Brothers made Arkham series game.
Yeah.
Troy Baker, not Troy Baker, I forgot his name, the midget Game of Thrones actor. I don't know. He was at first the voice for the Ghost in Destiny, which they changed to Troy Baker, which I don't agree with, in my own opinion.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that Hollywood actors do the same thing, and they still get shorted out. But it just shows the fact that voice actors for video games can do voice acting for movies, and they have done in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, the voice actor for Master Chief has voice acted for every single Halo movie out there.
Yeah. We have anything else?
I have an article about the Air Force creating a lightsaber.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, pull that up.
Okay. I guess we're branching out of video games and into just random shit that's on my Facebook wall because I'm bored, but okay. Okay. Air Force creates real-life lightsaber used for breaching. Behind closed doors at the Air Force Research Laboratory Munitions Directorate, scientists and engineers get to work on some pretty cool stuff. Take, for example, the Tech Torch, an incredibly powerful tool that can generate a blade-shaped flame that rips through a half-inch steel bar in less than a second. Reminiscent of Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, the handheld torch weighs about a pound and is just about 13 inches in length and about 1.5 inches in diameter, able to reach temperatures of around 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The flame is propelled at a speed at around a mile per second. So essentially, it's just a very cool flamethrower, not a lightsaber. This disappoints me. Rather than being used to duel with Darth Vader and the forces of the Empire, however, the tool helps special operations forces and first responders blast through fences, locks, vehicles, and other metal objects that stand between them and their objectives. The flashlight-sized torch can even be used underwater, allowing divers to utilize its incredible force. It works through a combination of chemistry and physics, says Stephanie Johnson, a research chemist and program manager at the lab. The extremely high heat renders the steel to a molten state, and the force of the propulsion erodes the material very rapidly. The torch was developed by Energetic Materials and Products, Inc., in conjunction with the Air Force Small Business Innovations Research and Small Business Technology Transfers Program. The Texas-based company responded to a request from the AFRL for ideas to produce a product that would replace the 16-pound acetylene torches traditionally used by special operators. If nobody knows what that is, I think they might recall Modern Warfare 3, Mission 2, when they were underwater and they had to get through a fence to get into the subway or the tunnel.
That was a good
Which
mission.
I would ask Dakota to put up a video of that here, if possible.
If you can link me to one, I will.
Fucking Google it, dude. You're not that lazy. It was literally the first video up of the goddamn game. You're gonna be able to find it online.
Okay, fair enough.
I started working with EMPI at around 2010. This is bullshit stuff I don't want to read about. Google provides money for small businesses. The Torch are already contracted by companies interested. None of the rest of it's about the Torch and as much about the program that the Air Force has for basically having small companies make government technology, which probably sounds better, or probably is better than it sounds.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's pretty interesting. I mean, it's kind of pissed off that they mislabel it and said, "Oh, it's a lightsaber," but it's definitely an interesting.
I mean, essentially it is, but essentially it is, but it's just not using laser technology, which is essentially impossible anyway by the laws of fucking physics.
I mean, you could create a high-powered laser that could cut through anything, but the thing is that laser doesn't stop.
Exactly. And even if you were to try to use plasma, there's a shit ton of problems in that on its own.
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably get there one day, probably not in our lifetime, and they'll probably already, by the time they figure out how to make it work, they'll probably already have a better solution. But hey. I mean, what I have to wonder is, with something that small, I mean, it's only 13 inches long. How long is that going to burn for? And my next
I'm guessing
question,
long enough to get into wherever you need to.
And my next question after that is, where do I get one?
The Air Force.
Oh, that sounds too much like work having to join the military to get my hand in cool tech.
Sounds like the story of your life.
Pretty much. Anyways, guys, thanks for sticking with us through Tech Talks. I know we had some technical difficulties this episode, but hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you enjoyed our hard-hitting return to tech journalism. I mean, it's not really journalism. We're just reading articles that we found written by other people. But hopefully you enjoyed this episode.
Are you putting this up?
What?
Are you putting this up today or technically tomorrow?
I'm going to try. If not, it's going to go up Saturday.
We don't do videos on the weekends.
We've done Tech Talks before on the weekends. That was originally my schedule for that was every Saturday. Record on Thursday, edit Friday, up Saturday.
Then should we hint at our next big announcement?
What's our next big announcement?
You mean the thing I've been working on for the past fucking month?
Yeah, I guess we should hit.
That I'm trying to get you guys to play so that I can fucking, one, get you guys into the system, and two, fucking announce it.
Yeah,
we're going to do.
I guess we could get into a hint at our next big project.
I essentially just did by yelling at you.
Yeah, but not to our viewers. To them, we're just
we're just having. I want that in the video.
What?
I want that in the video. That will be the hint. Me yelling at you as to what you should already know.
Yeah, but that's not going to give them any insight as to what we're talking about.
That's the point. That's why it's called a hint.
A hint's actually supposed to pass some viable information.
That did. I've been working on it for about a fucking month. It's going to be something that we play. I need to get you into some sort of system.
Yeah, but
that gives a pretty big hint as to what it is and what its basis is.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys are getting excited for this cryptic message. When it gets released, you'll be excited. You'll be excited.
All jackasses on the same damn time to do this thing.
Yeah, but we got something big coming down the works for you guys. It kind of ties into our website a little bit. So
ties into our website a lot since it fucking uses it.
Yeah. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of Tech Talks, and we will see you in the next video.